Welcome to the Nuggets Inc. podcast, presented by no one. I'm your host, Matt Schubert, joined once again by Nuggets beat writer Bennett Durando. We got a bunch to get into. The season started. The Nuggets are 2-1. Jamal Murray's playing like an all-star, and Aaron Gordon put up a 50 spot. We get into contract discussions. We get into players who aren't playing. How's it look for David Adelman? Victor Wembanyama? Good God. All that and more. Coming up next. And we are back for another edition of the Nuggets Inc. podcast. We've been away for a couple weeks. Season has begun to percolate. The Nuggets are 2-1, about to play New Orleans on Wednesday night. It is Wednesday morning here at the Denver Post podcast studios. It smells terrific outside. A beautiful, crisp fall morning. Have you taken in the leaves? Seen the leaf peeping?
Of course. Both here and in Minnesota the other day.
Oh,
great fall weather there.
How did Minnesota look? That had to be great. Minneapolis in the fall?
Yeah, it was a beautiful day to be in Minneapolis. And the Nuggets got maybe not a beautiful result, but a good result there as well.
They won. So. I think that winning against Minnesota in any way, shape, or form at this point is a triumph.
That's true. It got scary for them for a minute. It was like, oh my gosh, this is happening again with no Anthony Edwards in the lineup, and they're still going to find a way to lose this thing. It's a cursed head-to-head matchup. There's nothing that can be done. And then they find a way in the second half, thanks to Jamal Murray.
Goes off, is what happens. Aaron, do you have a favorite leaf peeping place here in Colorado?
Wherever my bike rolls.
Why does it have to be called leaf peeping?
I don't know.
I hate how that sounds.
You don't like peeping? Does it seem like it's just
if I go on a hike in autumn, why does it have to be called something different from what it is called 2 months earlier?
Because it paints a picture of the scene that you're taking in
it's just
the fall color change.
A fall hike. It is.
It shouldn't matter to someone who refers to it as autumn, whether it's called leaf peeping.
Well,
wow.
On that note, so yes, Jamal Murray on Monday night has, what was it, 43?
He's an autumn guy now.
Yeah, and it seemed like he took some offense to the idea that he could not show up in autumn, that he was not a man of autumn. And he's come out firing here early on. The Jamal Murray All-Star talk. That could start very soon. He keeps this up.
Yeah.
And Aaron Gordon, 50 against Golden State because of the hyphy?
Hyphy. You're really struggling with this concept.
I learned this concept last week.
From Aaron Gordon.
Aaron Gordon. Aaron Gordon taught me about this.
It's just East Bay music of the late 90s.
Oh, I know what it is now.
Yachts, but sure, whatever. I guess we should start with Jamal Murray. He's been the, story of the first week, probably a little overreactive to already go the All-Star direction, but, it's been a huge topic around them.
You said 43 points.
He's averaging 30.3 per game so far in 3 games. Obviously, when it's 3 games, that is subject to dramatically drop in the course of 1 game. So,
I can't recall the last time Jamal Murray has done this at the start of a season.
He looks fantastic. It's not just the scoring. Like, even before sort of the explosiveness of a 43-point game, he was very steady, I thought, in the first 2 games, maybe with the exception of a couple of overtime and late fourth quarter possessions against Golden State. And he has been able to get separation. His handle looks really tight. He is getting to the rim when he wants to. He is anecdotally, I don't really want to look at the rate of his shots that are threes right now when it's such a small sample, but anecdotally it seems like his shot selection has been a little bit more at the rim or beyond the arc as opposed to sort of the mid-range heavy selection that he has kind of instinctively gone to in the past, and that we've asked him about plenty, that he has sort of identified as something that he can change a little bit, but has also been defensive of, because he's great when he gets in a rhythm and gets to the mid-range. But nonetheless, it seems like he's identifying and taking the pull-up three around screens when he can. Even when they don't go in, I think that's a good shot for him. I feel like it's going in usually when he takes them. And as he does so often, he really got himself going with a couple of extremely difficult shots that very few players in the NBA can make to get the comeback going in Minnesota. They're down 8 at half. He has kind of an awkward spot on the floor late in the shot clock, but hits a long two, stepping back over Rudy. Then hits a pull-up three over Mike Conley after sort of demanding the ball with about 3 on the shot clock from Cam Johnson. And suddenly he is off and running, scores 23 and a quarter, over 30 and a half. And yeah, he looks really good. Like, I guess the caveat here is that there's no Anthony Edwards, and Edwards has been a fantastic Murray defender in past matchups. So to a certain extent, you go into that Minnesota game thinking Jamal Murray should have a big game here. He should be very assertive. He should take advantage of opportunities. But also the Wolves have a lot of athleticism. They have a lot of guys who can switch on to him. Obviously, McDaniels is an extremely talented defender. And the Nuggets sort of tried to attack mismatches and get Murray into the right spots with a lot of intent, I think, throughout that game. And so whether or not it's something that should have been expected of him or not, it's something that he's doing right now. He looks really good.
Would you have seen Jamal Murray and Hardaway as the backcourt that was going to shoot down Minnesota in a game that's going to just take over a quarter?
Honestly, crazy. It was literally like the two of them trading buckets for the entire quarter.
Yes.
And Denver sort of did a lot of sort of three-man game stuff almost, with Hardaway as a screener or sort of a double drag action guy with him and Jokic and Murray together, and that would try to get either a mismatch onto Murray, or if the Wolves were more focused on the two focal points of that action, then it frees up Hardaway in space above the break to either take an open three or attack a closeout. So he was able to sort of benefit from playing off of those two. He looked really good. It was an interesting quarter to watch, just those two getting like completely hot at the same exact time, and Denver scored on 20 out of 24 possessions, which is remarkable.
Against Minnesota.
Against Minnesota's defense, yeah. So very impressive stuff. Hardaway, interesting start to the season. He's kind of been the routine first sub, in part to get Murray.
You're at all surprised by that?
Into a stagger. I guess I am a little bit, yeah.
Vet minimum guy, and he's their sixth man.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how that'll evolve throughout the year, because if Peyton Watson, who also had a really good game against Minnesota and a very solid game against Phoenix, I thought.
Golden State. Not
so much. Yeah. A lot of guys had rough games against Golden State.
Nikola Jokic being the main one.
Yes, indeed. We should get to that. But I think there's a chance, just minutes-wise, that Watson sort of evolves into their main sixth man throughout the course of the year. But Hardaway sort of being a veteran who is eager to shoot the ball. He likes to shoot it. He will not shy away from that. Yeah, he will say it.
Yes. Shooters shoot.
Like and just someone who I don't know, maybe we should have seen it coming a little bit more. It's like we've covered the fact that he started most of the year last season on a very good team in Detroit is telling to a certain extent. So like he was always a good value vet minimum guy, but I was interested to see sort of where he would sort of naturally land in the hierarchy, I guess, of the bench rotation. And he was obviously the guy in Minnesota, partially because Cam Johnson was struggling and then dealing with a shoulder injury, and Hardaway kind of filled those minutes and then was playing so well that they were like, we might as well have you close. He's a guy who can sort of just fit in a lot of spots. Obviously, you can just put him in the corner to a certain extent, and if he's shooting the ball well, he's someone that defenses have to respect. So a lot to like from him in spite of kind of a rough preseason shooting the ball.
Mm-hmm. Let's get to AG. 50 points, 10 3-pointers against Golden State. The hyphy.
You're just like, you are as determined to disrespect hyphy music as the Warriors are to disrespect Aaron Gordon as an offensive weapon.
That was incredible. I could not believe
unbelievable
the game
performance
that he played. I thought when he hit the last three at the end of regulation, I was like, oh, that's the game winner. There's no way they're going to lose.
You forgot Steph Curry's on the other team.
Steph Curry's going to hit a 38-foot under pressure 3-pointer for some reason. And when Steph Curry went up to shoot that shot, I thought, that's a bad shot. That's not a good shot. Nope.
If Steph Curry gets a 3-up, down 3 at the end of a game, it's automatically a good shot. Yeah. And you kind of live with whether or not it goes in. And after that game, Adelman sort of highlighted the fact that Christian Braun and Jokic didn't necessarily try to lead him into where the defense was in a lot of spots. But I also think to a certain extent, once he gets going, there's not a whole lot you can do. Like, they did a good job slowing him down in the first half.
Yeah. And it wasn't like, again, that was a tough shot he made.
It was a crazy tough shot. He's just, he's like, there's no one like him, like in basketball history. So, crazy game. Losing the first game of the season at a team that's supposed to be very solid, and not to mention a team that's old and might have more tired legs throughout the season, but this is kind of the wrong time to run into them in their home opener. That was always going to be a tough game. I think where it stings is just in the reality that they wasted the 50-point Aaron Gordon performance rather than, we're 0-1. I think a lot of guys just kind of felt bad for Gordon, knowing sort of how effective a complimentary player he usually is.
He had to turn down the game ball. He had to say no thanks to the game ball.
Yeah. Definitely endearing himself to fans probably with that. I just thought it was fascinating throughout the course of that game that there were these moments where he had made 4 or 5 threes already, and Golden State went under a screen on him. He pulled up and he made another. He blocked a shot early in the third quarter after the perfect first half. Had not missed yet. Brings the ball up himself after his block on the left side. The Warriors are getting back on defense, getting organized, picking up guys, except for Aaron Gordon. They're not picking up the ball as Aaron Gordon brings it up.
Isn't that the book, though?
And he just stops at the 3-point line and makes another wide open 3.
But that's the book on Aaron Gordon. It's the shot you're supposed to give.
But should it be the book anymore? He shot 44% or something last year.
Yes, the year before, not as great. So, yes, probably at this point, people should be defending him differently. And he said, I believe, I don't know who he said it to in the preseason, but essentially that he's as good at basketball now as he's ever been in his life.
Yeah.
Which probably means he's as confident as ever as a shooter and playmaker and just basketball player in general.
He actually had a really, in the preseason, a very insightful perspective on this where he was like, I'm not as athletic as I was. I am flat out not at my athletic peak. I was jumping over mascots when I was 22, but he felt like the synthesis of athleticism, skill, IQ, shooting, all of those things was kind of at a peak at this stage of his career, and that's probably accurate, I would say.
One of the best bargains in the NBA still.
Yeah, at least for this year.
Yeah.
Next year, the $9 million raise, that factors into some of the extension talk that we'll get to, Christian Braun, Peyton Watson.
I mean, Devin Booker's getting $75 million a year. Is he half a Devin Booker? Yeah, I'd say he's better than half a Devin Booker.
Fair point, yeah. Anyway, I just thought it was fascinating. Even on the go-ahead 3 in the last minute of regulation, he's off the ball, and Draymond sort of anticipates him back cutting around the screen and sinks back toward the paint. to defend like the potential lob.
It was
Gordon.
That play. The thing that struck me about that play, it was very clear they were trying to set up Aaron Gordon for a shot.
Yeah.
Which is mind-blowing for the end of game when you've got Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic, and they're saying, we need to set up Aaron Gordon. That was insane.
Yeah. Should they is it an indictment on Adelman and the coaching staff that he didn't make a 3 in overtime?
I mean, once you get to overtime, it's kind of hard to really go at anybody.
A lot of his threes were flow of the offense threes.
Yes.
There were a couple play calls and stuff, but like he wasn't forcing a lot in that game. I actually thought he has kind of forced a couple of off the dribble contested threes in the last 2 games since then, perhaps as a product of the 50 piece. But there wasn't really much of anything like that in the Golden State game. So I kind of didn't have an issue with them with like, oh, they underutilized Gordon in overtime. Like you still have this ironclad 2-man game with Jokic and Murray.
Right. Well, and Nikola Jokic kept getting good shots. He just was missing them. He was wide open on 3 multiple times and just missed.
Yeah.
And you'll take that shot 9 times out of 10. Nikola Jokic wide open at the top of the key on a 3. Yes, that's a great shot.
So Jokic, I don't know what was he 2 for 11 from 3, something like that.
It was not good.
Whenever he has one of these games where he's popping a lot, he's stepping out to the 3-point line, he's taking a bunch of threes, and particularly when he misses a bunch of them, there is inevitable sort of talk or, basketball thought of is he settling here? Is he just stubbornly taking what the defense is giving him? Should he try to impose his will, play the game on his terms, establish an interior presence anyway, even if teams like play him in heavy drop or sell out to protect the paint? Jokic was pretty steadfast after that game that he liked the shots that he was getting.
Yeah, and just to interrupt, one, he had a game-winning shot near the hoop that he missed.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and then 2, if you want to know if it's a good shot or not, just listen to the home crowd reaction when he's lining up to take an open 3-pointer. Everybody's like, "Oh no!"
I heard a lot of groans.
He's wide open to shoot this ball, and he just missed. And that just tells you right there, everybody's scared he's going to make it because he's such a great player, and he can shoot that shot.
Yeah, he obviously was also 41+% from 3 last season.
Right.
So it was, he didn't shoot it well. He there are times where he will kind of self-deprecate in his post-game media if he feels like he cost the team the game, and will very much just kind of own it and almost make fun of himself and be like, I sucked, everyone else carried me, that type of thing. He wasn't really like that in this game. I think you could say that like he cost them the game by missing the shots, but
I think he did.
He sustained basically that he was happy with the shots he took. Adelman was happy with them as well. Interesting start to the year for him. He has a triple-double in all 3 games, which is very impressive.
Yeah, but that first one was...
The first one was as weak of a triple-double as you'll ever see him have, no doubt. He's been much better in the other 2 games, but he still hasn't scored a ton, with the exception of the first half against Minnesota, when no one else was really going, and he was getting mismatches in the paint, and he was backing down guys and getting easy buckets in the post. Other than that, he has been... They haven't posted up with him quite as much so far. Again, caveat of this whole thing, 3 games in. They've played a ton off of the elbows with some of the DHO stuff with him. It seems very much that he is content to be a playmaker if he can, that it is a commentary and a statement of trust in the depth of this team that Adelman and that Jokic himself feel like other guys can score. They can have a pretty nice distribution of wealth, and that he does not have to be a guy who's going to average 29 a game this year. And I think he prefers it that way. I'm sure there will be games where he will just be needed as an elite scorer, which he is. But it's been an interesting start to the year with that, and I wonder too if some of the elbow stuff, playmaking from there, a little less in the post so far, is one of the sort of micro strategies to protect his body throughout the course of the year and to make sure that he is going to eventually be in the shape that he wants to be in April and not be mentally, physically fatigued, because that has been a huge theme of David Adelman's, has been basically like we know the regular season is going to be tough. The West is a monster, but we have to be ready to go in April and May.
Yeah, I think if you had a Nikola Jokic MVP bet, you're probably thinking, no, I just lit that money on fire.
Unless he has breaks the single season triple double record with 50 triple doubles, but averages only 19 a game or something like that.
If he does that,
it would be fascinating. Wouldn't it?
I don't see him getting it, and I don't. He doesn't. They don't seem interested in it. I think you're right. I think we need him fresh. Jonas Valanciunas is going to get minutes. He's going to play a fair amount. He's not going to play as big of a role like over the course of the entire game as he has in previous seasons, and I think with good reason. Like, you want him good in May. That's really what matters. And also Victor Wembanyama. I mean,
you think he's just running away with it?
I think what I saw in that Dallas game, I don't know if you saw that Dallas game.
I did, yeah.
That was unbelievable. That was like, you saw that and you're like, oh yeah, this guy's about to take over the league.
Yeah. It could be sooner than we all expected.
Him versus Jokic in a 7-game series, sign me up.
It would be unbelievable.
That just sounds like so much fun. Like those two going at each other. I think that and we're probably going to see that at some point.
There's clearly, obviously, there's been a ton of mutual respect between them already over the last couple of years. The way that Jokic kind of tries to find other little tricks against Wemby's wingspan and everything that he doesn't have to try to figure out against other defenders. The way that Wemby has talked about him with a lot of reverence. The way that the Spurs have sort of used Wemby almost in catch and shoot ways to get him the ball in certain spots. To attack from, resembling a little bit of what the Nuggets have done with Jokic as a center and how that's unique from the rest of the league. That would be incredible basketball if they play a series.
Oh my gosh! I anytime Wembanyama comes to Denver, I'm in that arena.
Yeah.
I want to see that
that'll
game.
be appointment viewing.
Yeah. Unbelievable, and I think nothing to worry about with Nikola Jokic at all. He's still an MVP level player. I just don't think they're going to utilize him in a way that's going to lead to that outcome.
Yeah. So I do think they could play Valanciunas a little bit more. They could balance the minutes out a tiny bit more than what they have so far. I'm interested to see how that evolves over the next couple weeks.
I want more double big.
They haven't played any double big yet in the regular season.
Give me that.
I'm curious to see if they do it sort of reactively to other lineups or to try and force the issue.
I do think the Spurs would be one of those. Because the Spurs have had Wembanyama and the Boston guy, who's that goon?
Cornette.
Yeah, Cornette. When they play those two together, that would be a situation where you'd probably do that. Houston would be another, which the way,
Alman has cited a bunch as sort of, film inspiration for some of the stuff.
One other hot take on that: Houston, they need a point guard bad.
Yeah, we'll see.
That was the one thing that jumped out in that Oklahoma City game when they played that season opener. I don't think that Reed Shepherd's ready for it.
Reed Shepherd also just got, flambéed defensively in that game. So,
yes.
So the Jokic stuff is interesting. Very fascinating sub pattern in Minnesota for him that I can't remember them having done at all. I believe he sat very briefly late in the third quarter. Comes back, he starts the fourth quarter in a relatively close game. He plays to about the 8-minute mark and then goes to the bench. Jamal Murray and Jonas Valanciunas come in, and Jokic sits from about 8 to 5 and comes back in and finishes the game. So he was basically like the stagger there with the second unit. And Nadelman said afterward there was a little bit of a side effect of his goal having been to mirror Aaron Gordon's minutes with Julius Randle's to a certain extent. And some of that got messed up in the first half where they weren't able to because of foul trouble that Rudy Gobert got into. And then they were trying to get back to that more in the second half and basically went to the bigs and said, hey, just so you know, there might be a couple weird little stretches where you're in there for 1 or 2 minutes. Just play hard for those 1 or 2 minutes. But nonetheless, it was a fascinating indication of the fact that this is going to be a lot less formulaic with how Adelman sort of works the rotations and minutes based on the game.
I think that is a residue of they just have so many more options now, right?
Yeah.
There's just many more different iterations of this team that they can throw out there in a given moment. What's your impression of Valanciunas so far? Does he seem to be engaged and happy with where he's at?
Yes.
Do you think he's going to be additive? What is your early take on
second unit offense has been outstanding so far. Their bench can score, which
has not been
I don't know when the
for-
last time was you could say that reliably, unless Julian Strawther made his first 3. And then you're like, okay, we're good for 4 minutes.
You might have to go back to like Plumlee and Beasley time for that. You remember those days, Aaron? You remember those days? Those were fun.
Some DeMarcus Cousins stuff that one year.
They were fun.
That was a good bench unit back then. That was Monty Morris, Beasley.
Yeah, Beasley could knock
Plumlee.
down.
Yeah.
So I think Valanciunas is like, he gives that unit organization offensively. They are organized. They actually have, like, there's a system that they are playing with that second unit, and they're scoring at a really impressive rate. Some of that, too, is obviously Murray, who's been staggering a bunch, and he's just been exceptional, as we touched on. But I think Valanciunas is a big part of it. He's a really good scorer. He has good touch. He's not afraid to sort of put the ball on the floor and go one-on-one with a guy when they kind of need a fail-safe at the end of the shot clock. They've scored very easily. They have not defended very well so far. I would say the Minnesota game had the first stretch of bad non-Jokic minutes, like actively bad this season, and most of that was the defense. They're still sort of figuring out stuff with how Valanciunas can work in the zone because they're playing plenty of zone. Should he be at the top? Should they just kind of, when they go to the zone, put him in the middle in the paint and kind of get him away from the primary action at the top of the key if he's going to be having to sort of play aggressive defense on ball screens at other times when they're in man. So there's a lot that they're working out there defensively, but I think he's been pretty clearly additive whether he scores 10 points or doesn't take a shot. So
what about the engaged part? Your observation?
Very engaged, yeah. I don't think that's
so.
issue
Any
at all.
worries about him wanting to be over in Greece? That's way in the past at this point.
Yeah, I don't think that there's any issue there. I mean, he's been
What would be the
friendly,
odds?
good-humored in the locker room, too, so far.
If I were to set odds on him, that option getting picked up for next year.
Well, maybe that's a segue into the contract stuff.
Yes.
Because I don't think it's high off the top
because
of
they
my
got to
head.
pay Peyton, or
Well, whether or not they pay Peyton.
yeah.
So, okay. They extended Christian Brown. They didn't extend Peyton Watson.
And they extended Christian Brown at $25 million a year,
yes.
which seemed like a pretty good number.
Yeah.
Fair for both
I will
sides.
say Christian Brown has not started the year well. He has not been good the first 3 games. I don't think that means that it was a bad extension.
I wouldn't be
Plus,
worried about that.
Yeah, you don't have to like raise the alarms over 3 games. But so they're trying to figure out these 2 things to a certain extent at the same time. Their payroll is already going to be higher next year because of the $9 million increase that Aaron Gordon will get. Obviously, you have Jamal Murray, who's currently in the first year of his max extension, will be in the second year of that. Jokic obviously is expensive. The good news is Cam Johnson really helped out, nearly cutting MPJ's salary in half. But Christian Braun was the Nuggets' priority. They know how much he means to Jokic, I think. They've seen how much he is fit within that starting unit, how much he can be kind of an effective two-way player. They feel like they know what they're getting from him offensively and defensively with room to grow still. And the market on him was always going to be somewhere in the 20s. I think high end that was probably never going to happen was about $30 million a year maybe, and that was because like
$30 million a year.
Yeah, we've talked about this earlier in the offseason.
Okay.
Like there was a market. Obviously, at one point, Bobby Marks sort of projected around $30 million. There were projections for him around there, and there are other guys in the draft class who you're watching play out. Keegan Murray, I think, may have had ambitions of getting about $30 million.
I think he did, didn't he?
I think it ended up being more like 28.
Okay.
But so you have those
Which,
numbers.
by the way, I don't love that contract, but okay.
Yeah, we'll see. Sacramento's doing their own thing. Yeah. What is there to say about the Kings? So you have that going on. The Nuggets are trying to work it down, obviously. I think that both sides always wanted to get this done, and it was just always about the number, really. And Christian Braun admitted himself, he's like, negotiating, not really my thing. Kind of just feels uncomfortable being in disagreement with them because he had wanted so badly to get this done and to stay here long term. I think 25 ultimately was probably a fair number that works out.
Yeah.
For both sides.
I think it's the number where both sides are like, maybe I could have got more, maybe I could have got less.
Yeah, exactly. Especially though when you factor in percentage of the cap instead of just the raw number.
Right.
That is advantageous. The cap is going to keep going up at a pretty high rate over the next couple of years. So that there's a chance that it ages very well for Denver based on kind of lingering around 13% of the cap for the duration of the contract.
Where does Peyton Watson land? Is he
then,
like 10 to 15? What do you think that is?
So extending Christian, if you include the guys who are guaranteed to be under contract and the guys who are tentatively under contract next year, now you're at 11 roster spots, 4 to go, and you're $7 million away from the second apron.
Oh, boy.
So already right there is a...
That's including Valanciunas' salary.
That is including Valanciunas' salary.
Which you said is unlikely to be picked up.
So, a lot can change. It's hard to know. Like, this is all pretty heavy speculation 3 games into the regular season about the following offseason. But once that Christian extension gets done, it almost immediately becomes impossible that a Peyton extension will get done because Peyton Watson has ideas about his market. I think he probably would have liked to have more than $10 million a year. And the Nuggets are sitting here saying, well, even if we gave you $7 million a year, and it is like I'm approximating with that number, but the exact amount up to the second apron. In that case, there are 3 roster spots left, and you're going to go over the second apron. If they give him $3 million a year, then they have 3 roster spots to fill, and they're $4 million away from the second apron. So they're still going over. Any extension that they give him basically puts them tentatively in that space. So they end up not doing it. And what does that mean going forward? It's going to be very interesting because the ideal outcome for Peyton Watson is basically to be able to prove that he deserves more money. Like, that's what this year becomes about now with him going into restricted free agency.
And that gets uncomfortable when you're not the 6th man to start the season. You're not, if you are somebody, Peyton seems like a very gregarious and good person.
He is
And
wonderful.
so, like, the idea that he's going to take it the wrong way seems a little far-fetched. But once you're getting into, I'm entering a contract year, you're not giving me the minutes I thought I was going to get. Are you doing an underhanded version to keep my market below?
Yeah, David Allman was the reason I don't think that situation is playing out here is because like the Nuggets didn't have to say this preseason, Peyton Watson really good with the ball in his hands. Like he might have the ball in his hands a lot. We could use him to initiate some offense. Like that's not a role that he's played much. And if the Nuggets were interested in that sort of like...
Oh, just to be clear, I don't think that that's what's happening.
No, I know. I'm just saying like I think there's instantly like almost an act of good faith right there. And so I just, I guess it's always possible. Like these situations can get tense, like inherently. That's just how the NBA is. But I think Peyton Watson will have the opportunity from a minutes standpoint, from a ball in hand in small doses standpoint. Like he should have chances. He was outstanding and got a chance to close the game in Minnesota because Christian Braun was not playing well, and Peyton comes in. They hadn't stuck him in the corner very much yet this season, but he makes 2 corner threes and has a pick 6, reads a pass, takes it for a layup. So a huge fourth quarter helps them hold on in that game. Like the opportunity will be there if he plays well. But if he plays well, it seems like he's pricing himself out of Denver based on their, and he told me straight up, I talked to him one-on-one about this, like he said the second apron was a factor for the Nuggets and it was a financial decision for them. This is sort of what we've known for multiple years anyway. They have not explicitly said that they're treating it as a hard cap when I've asked Josh Kroenke straight up, but their actions are stronger than words and they have not gone into the second apron yet. So to me, we have to act as though it's a hard cap for them.
So he's because of what's played out now, he is going to be a restricted free agent next summer. Advantageous for the team,
yes,
not the player.
But if they don't want to pay for him anyway, then...
Well, at that point, it becomes a sign and trade probably, right? Like that.
Possibly, yeah.
And they end up getting, a pick back or something else. I've seen this play out before.
Yeah.
And you don't want to play this wrong. If Valanciunas' money is all of a sudden gone,
okay,
maybe he gets to 10 to 15, right?
Well, let's play that out. So then you're at 10 roster spots filled, about 17 million short of the second apron. These are projected numbers, by the way. So, and now let's say Peyton Watson plays very well this season and is a good sixth man and is even worth just a little less than the mid-level exception and is like a $12 to $13 million player. Well, if they extend him, now they have 4 roster spots left and
at the 12 to 13
and you're back where you were basically because Valanciunas' non-guaranteed salary is $10 million.
And you don't have a backup center.
So there would be more maneuvering that they would have to do if they would want to keep Watson and stay under the second apron than just be done with Valanciunas. So it's kind of tough to see him being a Nugget next year unless something changes.
That's so sad.
With their attitude about it.
That is a sad statement. I think everybody loves Peyton Watson. I think he's a fan favorite.
Mm-hmm.
He has flashy plays.
Especially at home. He's a great energy home game player.
Yes.
And that makes you like automatically likable with fan bases. People like him in the locker room. So it's an interesting situation with him. Obviously, like he acknowledged that it can be uncomfortable when this happens. Like to an extent, it's like the luck of the draw that he's in this same draft class where they had 2 rookie extension candidates eligible at the same time with him and Braun was just the priority. And so we'll see how this plays out. I mean, maybe he has a bad season, like maybe he doesn't play well and something changes, but I don't know. Just with the course of his development, I have a hard time seeing his value like decreasing this season. And at that point, unless the Nuggets are making trades with core players next summer, which, it's always possible. Like that's the game that they're going to have to navigate in general after this year with the aprons and everything. Mm-hmm. Like it's, I don't think that they're going to see Peyton as a priority. I don't think they're going to be like, well, we have to trade Cam Johnson or Aaron Gordon to find a way to make the money work with Peyton.
Speaking of Cam Johnson, kind of been okay. Not great.
No, yeah, I would say it's been a shaky start.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How if I was, five alarms, 4 alarms, how many?
Out of how many? I mean, what?
5.
Out of five alarms?
No. How many are you?
I would say 1 right now.
Okay.
It's 3 games still. Adelman kind of warned, the press and the public about this throughout the preseason, being like, there's going to be a natural growing process. And I think that's fair and that makes sense. But also part of the appeal of Cam Johnson, I think in the immediate aftermath of the trade, was how seamless everyone expected the fit to be almost instantly. So that's interesting. I want to see him with the ball a little bit more. I think that's kind of the interesting thing that they didn't do quite enough of in the preseason. His shot has not been falling. I don't think that's as much of a concern because there's a steady career sample size of him being a good shooter. So if he has a bad 2 weeks from the preseason into the regular season, that's not that big a deal. But he struggled with the physicality sort of in the Minnesota game. He's fouling a bunch. I think he's been a little frustrated with his whistle, but is nonetheless fouling a bunch. So that's been a bit of a problem. I'm sure. I don't know at what point you start to really feel uneasy about it, but it is funny, whether or not the trade is a masterpiece trade or a bad trade. There are going to be stretches this year where it looks kind of funny because Michael Porter Jr. will have 37-point games
for a really bad Brooklyn
Brooklyn team, and Cam Johnson will not have as much of that going on in Denver just because of the role swap.
You think Brooklyn wins more than 25 games this year?
I doubt. I haven't actually gotten a chance to watch too much of them yet. I watched part of a game the other day.
They're not good.
Mike looks good though. He's doing some stuff off the dribble.
Yeah. Have fun with that.
He has what he has wanted, I think.
Yeah, he's getting the Jeremy Grant life.
Yeah. So, Cam Johnson, Christian Braun, I would say that, the two slowest starters so far, particularly in that starting lineup. And then obviously they end up, closing a game with Hardaway and Watson in their place in Minnesota. And part of that is the injury with Johnson, but nonetheless, Adelman has kind of stressed throughout preseason, training camp, beginning of the season, this is going to be what the Nuggets are this year, is that he feels confident enough in their depth that there will just be certain days where he feels like he can ride a hot hand to end a game. And, he's been very preachy about the fact that he needs everyone to be happy for each other when they're not closing a game and when someone else is in their place.
And he's got a lot of mouths to feed.
He does, yeah.
I mean, Julian Strawther's barely played.
Exactly, yeah. Fascinating.
I mean, and that guy was getting minutes last year. Playoff minutes.
Yeah.
Won a playoff game.
So the two, Strawther and Deron Holmes are two guys who I think we, sort of prognosticated could be rotation guys, back in the dead of the offseason. Strawther can be a little bit of a redundancy with Hardaway, I think, except I actually think Hardaway's defended okay last couple games too. Strawther, very much an uncertain variable at the defensive end still at this stage in his career. So you have that going on, and Hardaway has done nothing to indicate that he shouldn't be getting a lot of those minutes off the bench right now. And then in Holmes' case, maybe there's some bigger lineup backup for stuff eventually, but they want to send him to the G League and get him playing time there, basically. And he, that reflects in the fact that I don't think he had the greatest training camp ever. I think that he was trying to keep up with everything. The system processing that he was learning with the Nuggets was pretty much playing exclusively third unit in the preseason games, not with the main bench guys in the second or third quarter. So, those two guys sort of the lower than expected on the totem pole, I guess, so far.
What did Calvin Booth get up to move up 8 spots or whatever it was to draft
6 spots.
6 spots.
He traded a second-round pick that year and 2 future second-round picks.
Great deal. Nice work, Calvin.
We'll see.
That one. And it was because he thought somebody was going to take him, right? Like that was basically.
He thought Minnesota was going to. Yeah. Who's to say? It's
can't miss out on him.
well, I mean, look, it would technically, but Deron Holmes is a 100% career shooter in the NBA right now. He's 1 for 1. He made a corner 3 at the end of the Phoenix game. So who are we to like discount him as a viable NBA player just yet?
Yeah.
But we'll see how that one ages. We'll see.
Yeah. The Peyton Watson one has worked out. I'll say that. That ended up being a really good pick by Cal, and obviously Christian Braun.
Yeah.
Like if you did a redraft, Christian Brown's going in the top 10 of that draft.
Top 5 maybe. I mean, based on the money,
right?
He was 5th. I think it's the obvious guys: Paolo, Chet, Jalen Williams,
Kings,
and then Murray, who was picked 4th, got the 4th most money. Yeah. And then Braun and Dyson Daniels were tied for 5th in average annual value, but Braun got a 5th year. Mm-hmm. Dyson only got 4 years. So if the money talks, then Braun is the 5th most valuable player in that draft class right now.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
Yep, not bad. Not bad. What before we hit on a couple around the NBA topics here, your thoughts on the early regime of one David Adelman?
I think a lot of people are excited just because of the flexibility with which he is sort of operating from a rotation standpoint, scheme standpoint, all of that stuff. If something's not working, he's interested in trying the next thing. And I think that was something that Michael Malone didn't do a ton of. Not to say that he never did. That would be reductive. But I think there's a lot of excitement about that. I think there was a lot of frustration after the Golden State game just because it was a loss. It's hard to say early on, like oh, man, this is clearly just going to be a slam dunk hire. They don't really have a great win yet, a win that you can say is a great win. A Phoenix at home. Minnesota is a good win to just get that monkey off your back, but no Ant. They haven't had that like really feel good win where it's like, oh man,
they're not getting
look at
tonight.
these guys click against another contender at full strength.
They're playing New Orleans tonight, so whatever.
Yeah. But a lot of zone. Adelman's playing a lot of zone. He's interested in moving people around in that zone. Jokic in the corner, Jokic in the middle. We'll see how that stuff plays out. Obviously, their offense is crazy good. They've scored 127 plus in the first 3 games, and I think I saw a stat that was like they're the first team since the 60s to do that in their first 3 games of a season. So,
well, offense in general is up in the NBA in the first week.
Yeah, as it tends to be year over year, constantly. So, someone with the Nuggets told me we're a video game this preseason regarding their offense. So, Adelman was the offensive coordinator already, obviously. So it's not like a ton changes there, but he's always sort of adding little wrinkles and doing stuff there. They're going to be incredible at that end. It's going to be, what they'll try defensively, how that's going to evolve schematically, personnel-wise throughout the season. I think that will be the most fascinating element.
Okay, real quick before we go, a couple other things. Chauncey Billups and that whole story.
Yeah.
Holy cow. Let's start with the...
Sad day for Denver.
Yeah, really sad day. I mean, just depressing. You wake up to it. You wake up to Chauncey Billups getting arrested, King of Park Hill. And then you have the gambling, the sports gambling aspect of it with Terry Rozier, but the guy who's not named on that, Malik Beasley. That's pretty surprising given what's been going around. Somehow the NBA investigation cleared Terry Rozier.
Yeah, that's interesting, isn't it?
And then the feds are after him not long after.
Well, Adam Silver's excuse was basically in like an Amazon Prime interview in game last week was basically that we don't have the investigative resources to access certain things that the federal government
they don't have
has.
subpoena power. They don't have a lot of those the law enforcement behind them.
Yeah. I will say that sort of makes you question the validity of like conclusions made by other NBA investigations, including ongoing ones about certain franchise ownership groups and payments made allegedly under the table to superstars. But I digress. So that's interesting. Yeah, it was interesting that Beasley wasn't in that.
And it didn't even seem like he was one of the unnamed co-conspirators, whereas it sure as heck seemed like Chauncey Billups was one of the unnamed co-conspirators.
He's only specifically named in the
poker
poker indictment, and then the basketball one. It's basically all but stated.
Yeah,
that he was
all of the identifying information except for his name.
Yeah. So there's some sticky stuff here too, with like the delineation between just casually telling people something who's a friend about we're tanking, or I'm not going to play much tonight, or whatever the case may be, versus nefariously doing so for the purpose of prop bets or whatever it may be.
And it's pretty clear that that's what they're accusing Terry Rozier of. Is the latter.
Yeah. So like, there's a lot of gray area and sticky territory with it, and obviously this happened on the day of the season opener for the Nuggets, and so Adelman and Steve Kerr both asked about it a lot, sort of before the game, and like, how do you manage this? How do you sort of like keep the genie in the bottle, I guess, to the extent that you can? And the league does these meetings with these teams about sort of, where the proprietary information shouldn't be shared. Obviously, like, injury reporting is fascinating on this, because a lot of times teams will know that a guy is not playing, but they'll list him as questionable the night before a game and into the afternoon of a game.
Which, like, right off the bat, that makes me think you just have to be as transparent as possible, as early as possible.
I tend to agree, and like, I don't know if you think that gives a scouting edge to the other team. Like,
too bad.
Whatever. Yeah, like, there are bigger fish to fry here than
you
that.
don't want the feds coming after your league.
Yeah.
So you've got to do whatever you can to make that impossible.
Yeah, I tend to agree. So yeah, it's a whole mess. And then obviously, I mean, what Billups means to the Denver community.
Unbelievable.
Is
and that whole story is wild, with the different ways that they were cheating in the poker game. The idea that they had like infrared cards and secret cameras,
the table or whatever, where you can see that allows you to identify face down cards.
Right. The
contact
earpieces
lenses
that are like so small that nobody can see the ear. All I'll say is, Troy Rank had a really good column on this the day that it happened, and I think it was George Karl who said something along the lines of, I hope it's just a small thing, that he was just sort of, and that's what I'm hoping too. Like, it just really would be such a terrible thing if, this guy who, I think anybody who you talk to about him in the league had nothing but great things to say about Chauncey Billups as a leader and a person, that this could be like his sort of end game is really sad.
No doubt. Yeah, it is, the whole thing's sad and obviously troubling. Obviously, like, the interesting elements that factor into this too with addiction are like, that gets thorny, where Jonte Porter, to what extent was he acting, with agency? To what extent was he
leveraged,
being threatened? Because that sort of was the indication as well, was that other gambling debts may have been taken advantage of for the sake of these situations. So like, there's a lot of complicated gray area. It's all, upsetting stuff to find out about. And then obviously you have Rodney Billups on the Nuggets staff,
Right.
One of the new sort of assistant coach support staff people with Adelman. He's been with the team. He was with the team that day at Golden State. Can only imagine sort of like the mental difficulties of just like trying to do your job through that, obviously. But, he's also a guy who's just like a friendly face and a very, nice person and a Denver person, former DU coach.
Right. Former CU assistant.
Yeah. So, it ties into all these elements, locally, even the Jonte Porter thing, which was kind of a watershed moment in this whole gambling storyline around the league in recent years. Brother of a Nuggets player at the time, it touches Denver in all of these kind of random, but sad, tertiary ways, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a real shame, and you just hope it isn't as bad as it looks. Also, word of advice: if anybody invites you to a high stakes illegal poker game, I would say don't go. That would be my word of advice to you.
Very fair.
Probably want to stay away from it, regardless of what celebrity is playing it.
I would prefer to know the people I'm playing poker with in general,
Yes.
I think.
Yes, or at the very least, it's at a casino where I know everything's supposedly on the up and up.
Yeah, yeah.
There's plenty of legal games, is what I'm trying to say. Just play in those.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. Agree completely.
Not that hard to find.
Yeah.
All right. Last thing, I absolutely have to talk about this. I know that maybe for your generation, Bennett, this isn't a big deal, but Ron and I can remember the NBA on NBC in the 1990s. We know.
Oh yeah, it's a huge deal.
We know what that was. We know that song as well as anyone. And, kudos to NBC for sort of acknowledging the big thing right off the bat when they did their introduction, which is that a lot of the guys that are playing in the league right now have no idea about that song, about what the NBA on NBC was, that it was even on NBC, that it going away from that was like kind of a small tragedy for the league. But that, and then Michael Jordan, seeing him with Mike Tirico, and what a great segment that was. His story about shooting the free throw in front of the little kid, I just thought was.
I knew you would geek out about that.
It was so
much.
good. It was so good. What are your thoughts?
I'm just curious your thoughts on LeBron James in the GOAT conversation. Actually, no,
Oh,
I'm
God.
kidding. Yeah, it seems like the production's been really good.
Yep.
It was like that first night of the season, and it helped that the first game was like this amazing game with storylines and drama and great basketball and 2 overtimes and everything. But like delightful broadcast to watch, I thought.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued if the Jordan thing was just like one interview where he basically like just signed on to like talk with Mike Tirico one time,
And it's gonna be pieced
NBC's
out
just
over-
like
yeah.
milking everything out of it for.
I hope it's
months.
more than that. I really do.
I would hope at least that it's like throughout the season they have recurring,
Right.
non-live conversations that they can go back to.
Right. And
with
I would just like to hear him react through the season to things that happen, even if it's somewhat delayed in the sense that he has it and then it comes out a week after or whatever. I would just like to hear his thoughts on different things that are happening in the league.
I agree. I think everyone it's just like you don't hear his voice very much.
Right.
About like the contemporary stuff. Obviously, he kind of like stressed a bunch wanting to pay it forward or whatever. So I don't know. You would hope that it's like not too much of like a mailed in thing as time goes on throughout the season. I hope that it's recurring with like more conversations than the initial one, that sort of stuff. That's all.
And pleasant surprise, ESPN has not messed with around the NBA in a way.
Oh man, or inside the NBA.
Yeah, inside the NBA, excuse me. In a way that has really I've been able to notice. It seems like the same show to me.
Well, they're doing it in the same studio, I think, with the same production team, which is cool that they were able to like protect a lot of people's jobs, it seems like. They have the same theme music from TNT, which is awesome.
Thumbs up.
Yeah, I expected it would be like they're going to let those guys do their thing still, but it would you would feel like you're watching ESPN. It doesn't even feel like you're watching ESPN when they're on.
Which, by the way, is a commentary on ESPN that we're like just rejoicing the fact that they haven't put their fingerprints all over it.
Yeah.
Aaron, NBA on NBC.
Not that ESPN's doing like the Legler thing with coaches has been really fun. Those little segments he's done.
Yes.
That's been exciting.
Your thoughts? Round ball rock. It's back.
I love it. Every once in a while when Bennett and I are playing ping pong, I pull out the iPhone, I toss on round ball rock and get real lathered up and go.
That song, it's like a Pavlovian response when you hear that song before a basketball game. You were born, I believe, 99, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so that would have been toward the end of the NBA on NBC contract. But they had a way of setting up games with Bob Costas that is they do it now with the NFL in a way that's really good. And if they're able to do that with the NBA again, it just elevates the product, I think, in this very big way. Games on NBC, especially finals games, just felt huge.
Well, the finals won't be on NBC.
I know,
right?
it's a bummer.
It's
a bummer.
Oh, they are nostalgia pandering by bringing the trophy back this year.
What trophy?
Like you know how they used to have like the decal of Larry O'Brien like behind the center court logo of the home team during the finals. They're doing that again. I'm
good with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just love
an aura farming league right now.
Hey, got to do it. They have a great history that I think sometimes aren't really good at tapping into.
I sort of agree. Yeah.
And they should be doing everything they can to tap into that, because there are people my age who grew up on 90s basketball who just love that era, and being able to draw back on that now, I think, is nothing but positive for the league and for basketball in general. So I was thrilled watching all that, and I might have watched the Jordan interview multiple times.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
I was just loving it.
Wow. I didn't expect that level of
all the way
worship.
All the way in. And that game matched it, the Oklahoma City Houston game. It just totally matched it.
It did. Chris Webber moment.
Oh, gosh.
Unrecognized.
Got so lucky. Kevin Durant. Yeah.
Not that lucky because they ended up losing, but
But
OKC hasn't lost, but they've played a bunch of close games so far. So.
I think two double overtime games, haven't they?
Two double overtime games. They really hate Golden State, by the way, because both of their double overtime games have been on national TV with a Golden State game set to follow it that has not been able to get on the main airwaves it was supposed to be on until the second quarter, basically. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of funny. And they played a close game with Sacramento last night. Came down to the end. Embarrassing lack of toughness from Sabonis, who had a rebound ripped away from him when Sacramento was down 2 in the last minute.
Kings. I feel terrible for Kings fans. That's a bad existence. It's like being a Rockies fan.
So recently, after having a joyous little pocket of their franchise's history, So tough stuff. Yeah, so a lot of reunions coming up. Russ, and to a lesser extent, Dario in the Sacramento game. And then maybe to the greatest extent, because he was here for 3 years, is DeAndre Jordan tonight after we record this. Who wasn't like an exceptional player or anything, but won a title with the Nuggets.
Got a ring.
Basically everyone likes him. So, that's...
Yeah, I would go through our reviews on iTunes, but we don't have any new ones. It's still Bennett's Mom as our last review on iTunes. So please review us on iTunes. 5 stars.
The listeners must sense the animosity that Aaron feels toward reviews being read on here. And they must be thinking, you know what, we're going to do Aaron a solid and not review this podcast so that he can get out of the studio sooner.
I think they sided with me.
Yeah.
Come over to my side, guys. It's warm over here.
I'm neutral. I don't.
Lie with your stars. Tell the truth with your view. Also, no emails. I haven't been getting emails for a while. Where are you, people? Are you done listening after an hour? Is that what it is? Have they checked out after an hour, you think?
I don't know. Could be.
Like there's like 10 people listening right now. M. Schubert at denverpost.com to email the podcast. Any questions, comments, thoughts, critiques, we'll take them all. Bennett, New Orleans tonight. What's coming up after that?
NBA Cup opener at Portland on
NBA
Friday.
What do you think of the courts?
Be there.
What do you think of the? I don't like the
red. Hate the red. The
Why?
Reds. Having traveled to a few of these games, the red ones are always the
it's terrible.
Worst to look at in person.
Hurts your eyes almost.
And I'm sure that the what do they call it? Flatiron red.
Flatirons red.
I'm sure that's a little bit better than like the bright red in Houston that I was looking at a couple years ago. And they play a road game in the Cup at Houston again this year, so I guess I'll be back there with a red court. But so I'm sure this one's better than that, but I have a feeling it's still not going to be good.
I'm not. No, thank you. I do not like it at all. So all that should be fun. NBA Cup. I don't know if people care yet. I still don't. I can't get a sense of whether.
I have fun with it when it's happening, and then I completely forget that it exists as soon as it's over until when it starts the next year. That's kind of how I feel about it.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll be back here again soon. Follow Bennett Durando for the latest Nuggets news, and we'll talk again soon.
Looks like we have another dragon, Master Ace, spitting the burning passion. It's about to be a catastrophe. Thought I was the only survivor, but at last we meet. Like the food vegans don't eat. I know you can see the infernal blaze. We would probably burn the stage and leave it with third degrees. And inside of us is an eternal blaze, blazing eternally like a furnace. But it's so hot it's burning the furnace's frame. Your family and furniture isn't safe. Better evacuate, cause the skill we can calibrate reduces the chances of your survival if you ever try to retaliate. So dance to this recital so you can slowly gravitate towards us. Who needs a chorus when you're hotter than Earth's core is? No strings attached with no puppets, yo, we're cordless. I fly even when I'm hurt, yo, that's soaring. Your skill isn't apparent, it's an orphan. We proceed to spit the verse that takes your spirit and lifts it high into the earth's atmospheres. Don't come atmosphere of influence, you squares. I take a spear and put it through you, I raise the stakes. Medium rare, you're the least of the media's fears. Why he's the reason the media's scared. Please be prepared to be impaired. Go seek repairs, defeating people in pairs. Jordans, I thought I needed pairs to be compared to the people in pairs.
This is a journey into sound. A journey which along the way will bring to you new color, new dimension, new values, and a new experience.
Gather round hip-hoppers as if you're still living. Still got love for the game, I'm still giving and still driven. Like Diddy in the Maybach. I've been repping for the city since way back. All y'all rappers better stay back, cause you still can't find me. I'm a needle in a haystack, a rare breed sitting high up in the chariot. What y'all do is getting high up in the Marriott. Well, consider this your wake-up call. If you're married to the game, this the breakup call. And you ain't wearing a crown if you're not tearing it down. You clowns get found right there in the ground, 6 feet, dirt nap, that's because your shit's weak. I'm a giant, you a pipsqueak. Welcome to my kingdom, yup, throne has an occupant. Read my name at the bottom of the document. Check the scroll, giving good times like Esther Roll. Peace to Keith E, God bless the soul. Trying to get more checks to hold. On some slick Rick, Mr. T shit, big chest of gold. And the flow still extra cold, like the North Pole, cocaine snow, another lost soul. Bow down, it's the Grand Royal, yup. 20 plus years in the game, and still the fans loyal.